On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt will try to decipher the fun but plot-light trailer for the Mando and Grogu movie. Is it about the Hutts, or will it have deeper ties to what the Imperial remnant is up to during this early era of the New Republic? Stay tuned to find out. Punch it, Chewie. Hey now, everybody, hey now, what's going on? Kramer's up in this bitch. What's up, homie? Hope we get some other friends to join us, because it is a Star Wars Time Show live stream Wednesday. Let me get my hat on so I don't blind anybody. There we go. The uniform is now complete. Got my Star Wars hoodie. Got my Star Wars Time hat on. I am ready to rock and roll. Let's do this. All right. So, fun day today. We've got real Star Wars to talk about, not made up stuff, special topics. We don't give a shit about who has the most screen time in the Star Wars movie universe this week, because we have an actual Star Wars movie to talk about, and that's the Mandalorian and Grogu. That's right. We got a new trailer 2 for the film. Fans were clamoring for it around the Super Bowl. We didn't get it. We got a Budweiser style ad, but here we are. We got it. Dropped, Tuesday. I actually did an impromptu live reaction video / early commentary / breakdown / speculation yesterday, so you can check that out. But today I plan to take a deeper dive into the pool. That's right, I'm diving into the 5 feet section head first to really start to decipher what the hell is this Mando and Grogu movie going to be about. Is it really just about bounty hunting? Is it really just about Din going after the Hutt cartel? Or is there bigger things at play? Is it going to connect into the Mandoverse at large? Will it help set up Ahsoka Season 2? Nobody knows, but maybe I do. So stay tuned for the breakdown. All right, I may even watch the trailer again live on the show if anyone wants to join me. So if you're here live, why don't you go ahead and pull up the trailer on YouTube, have it ready, and I'll say go, and we'll both hit play at the same time. And I do mean both, because I think only 2 people are watching this right now, which is kind of disturbing. So we'll see what's going on here in a little bit. But as we always do around here, we're going to go ahead and kick off this week's Ask Me Anything. I've been getting all sorts of questions now. I guess bitching does help. Or maybe you could say I'm manifesting when I've been on the show the past few weeks going, wah, no one responds to Ask Me Anything. No one responds to Question of the Week. Well, we've killed Question of the Week, but we're keeping AMA, AUA when Nick's around. And I'm actually building up some questions. So I think I probably have too many to respond to today. I'll try to go through those quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on that, as I do want to get into the Mando and Grogu. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what the fans wanted to know this week from your bro on the Star Wars Time Show. Like I said, I am a lyricist, people. You better watch out. Okay, let's go ahead and get some screens switched around if we can. Of course, we can't. Please, will someone please fix Stream Deck with OBS and vertical streaming? Please. I mean, it's been months at this point in time. It used to work fantastically, and now it is a see you next Tuesday, if you know what I mean. Hey there, Lee. Good to see you in here, joining myself, Kramer. Looks like, for whatever reason, this is going to be a lonely type of show, but that's all right. I'm here to have fun. We're here to break things down live. We're here to celebrate that far, far away galaxy. All right, here we go. Hold on, I've just got a text about collecting cereal boxes. I'm guessing that is for some little kid stuff. Hey there, Dane J2Q. Good to see you in the vertical stream. my friend. All right, so the first Ask Me Anything question coming from our boy Bango, who is absent yet again. Shame on you, Bango. Shame, shame, shame. Sergeant Bango, that is these days. But anyways, he's asking, what would a rated R original trilogy look like? Darker tone and more violence, or similar tone with more profanity and alien nudity? And as a caveat, he clarifies, by alien nudity, I of course mean a Twi'lek brothel. Well, hey there, Dane. We always love new people. Hopefully you enjoy the show, you stick around, you subscribe, and maybe we'll see you again next week. Hey there, Diego Rivera. Nice to see you as well. Anyway, so what would a rated R OT movie look like? Well, Bango, I'm going to go with darker tone and more violence, but I'm also going to throw in alien nudity because why not? I mean, who doesn't want to have or to see a nude Twi'lek or a nude Togruta? I know creepy people like me probably do, and sounds like Bango does as well. So yeah, I think it would be, you know, if we're talking of A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, I think general darker tone, more graphic violence, maybe more Star Wars swear words, like a bunch of dank ferrix and stuff like that. And of course, you know, alien nudity would be a must for rated R Star Wars. Hey there, Darkmaid66. Good to see everyone. All right, so good question there. Next up in Ask Me Anything. If you ever want to get involved, just make sure you're following us on our socials. You look for the Ask Us Anything prompt, lay down your question, and we'll add it to our backlog. And one day we will answer it. All right, here we go. Darkmate 666. I got a topic for us. Honestly, want some insight about it, Bible related, and just to suggest. I don't know if we're going to talk Bible right now since we're talking Star Wars, but you can throw your question in this chat and maybe I'll address it. Anyways, next official Ask Me Anything question coming from Our Lady Divided Skywalker. What are you currently watching / reading? Well, reading, I'm on the final prequel book of Asimov's Foundation series. I'm almost done. Okay. And watching, I guess most current that is airing now, and I'm not like backlogging my streaming shows, would be A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which I'm finding to be very entertaining, enjoyable, well done. I wish the episodes were a little longer, but I dig it. I dig it so much I might actually go back and read the book that it is based on because I like my man Dunk, and I definitely like my little dude Egg. And, you know, again, you can say what you want about George and his inability to finish Game of Thrones or The Wind's a Winner, whatever you want to call it. But some of these prequel books he's written are still pretty classy. Diego's asking, what am I playing right now? You know, Diego, I'm an old guy, so my backlog in gaming is getting way too big. I still haven't even touched Expedition 33, last year's GOTY, but I am dabbling in Ghost of Yote. So that is the current PS5 game I'm whipping right now. All right, next question here. This one's coming from I'm Ready, How About You over on YouTube. What is the most underrated clone battalion? Well, I am ready. I would have to say the 104th, and that's the one Plo Koon and Commander Wolf led. And it's just because, you know, they didn't get a ton of screen time. They don't get a lot of action. I mean, you get some stuff in the Clone Wars, but you don't really see them in the films like you do the 212th and the 501. So I'd have to say the 104th. Diego, yeah, I'd say I'm a pretty decently big Star Wars fan. Considering I do a show called Star Wars Time, but you know, it turns into anything time, so you never know. All right, so next question here. Oop, didn't mean to do that. Coming from Ponda Boca. What's your favorite old gaming system, and does your fam ever have gaming sesh on it? This is a great question. In terms of the family and I having gaming sessions, that is mostly relegated to Switch or Switch 2, so I know that's not an old gaming system. But for me personally, man, it's tough. I think I would have to go, man, I want to go all the way back to Nintendo just because that was, you know, my first console that I owned as a young kid. But at least, I don't know, man, NES, but then PS1 also, I had so many great memories on that. So I don't know, between those two, Ponda Boca, I know that's a crappy answer, but it's hard for me to pick when we're talking retro gaming. I mean, it's hard when you're born in '80. Literally, the NES was everything. I think I had one at 5 years old, and it completely changed my life and sucked me into gaming for decades on end. I mean, I still game even now, so I'll go NES. Yeah, Diego, name's Matt. Thanks, buddy. That's my name. Don't wear it out. You don't have to go, Dark Mate. You can stay and hang out. We're just not going to get into like Bible-related questions, if you know what I mean. To me, my X-Men. Hey there, Kazmatter. Good to see you. Next question in Ask Me Anything for this week, coming from League. How do you keep the spark alive after all these years for Valentine's? That's a good question. I've been with my wife for over 20 years now, so lots of Valentine's days celebrated. We've been married for almost 19, so we've been at it. I guess I keep it simple these days. I try to find a gift that's not just box of chocolates and flowers. I might go out on Etsy and source an artist. That's what I did this year. I had an artist do a sketch of the family for my wife, and then we just kind of hung out together on Saturday. The kid was out with friends and watched a movie on the couch. Talk about romantic. We went to Giant Eagle at 8:30 at night to do some light shopping. So I guess that's what we what we did to keep the spark alive. But I also got a little something on Valentine's Day too. So I guess it's working. Thank you, League. All right. Next one from Rippick Tan and Ask Me Anything. We do this every week to kick off the show. Like I said, if you want to get involved, make sure you're following us on our socials, Discord, whatever, and you can submit your own questions for AMA or AUA when young Nick's around. But Rippick Tan is asking, taking the little one to see Mando and Grogu? Of course. The only problem is I'm going to be on vacation when it comes out on May 22nd. I'll be at a beach town. I know they have a movie theater, but it's a beach town movie theater, so it's probably not going to be Dolby Atmos or AMC Prime or IMAX, things like that. So I don't know if I'm going to blow my initial Mando and Grogu load on a beach movie theater screen, but you never know. The draw is going to be strong. The FOMO will be even stronger, so there's a good chance I might slide over there on the 21st or 22nd and check it out, and then when I get home, go watch it on a better screen. Next question we have coming from my man Kramer. Thoughts if they ever made a True Detective style Star Wars series, and have you been watching any Olympic hockey? I've not been watching Olympic hockey outside of highlights, so sorry, Kramer. I've mostly been into the skiing events for the Olympics this year, maybe some speed skating, but not a lot of hockey. I know it's terrible. I feel like a douche, but it is what it is. Now, True Detective Star Wars, sure, that'd be fantastic. I mean, I contend Star Wars as a property, as a franchise, can fit all different types of genres of TV. Horror, mystery, thriller, crime, thriller, action, things like that. So I think True Detective would work quite well in Star Wars. Maybe do something with investigating some Sith chicanery or things like that. I think would be quite fun. I told you there's a lot of questions this week. All right, this is coming from my man Spencer's wife, Blanche. Are you familiar with the phonics rules for C and K? I see what you're doing, Blanche, and I'm not going to fall for it. If you want me to say suck cock, just say it, okay? There it is. All right, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, young lady. And then from their kid, Bennett again is asking who. You always know my reply, Bennett. Who is Gamora? Right back at you, pal. All right, is that it? That's it. That's all the questions for this week. Ask Me Anything. Like I said, we do it every week to kick off the show. So make sure to follow us on our socials, be it Instagram. We got an open invite link to our Discord down in the description of this video. And if you liked it, give us a sub, like I said, or consider becoming a channel member for as low as $1.99 a month if you want to get some kick-ass little emojis next to your name in the chat and access to custom emojis to use while you are chatting. All right, before I get into my big topic for this week, which, again, is going to be breaking down the Mando and Grogu trailer number 2, I do have a little movie I want to talk about. Every once in a while on this show, I like to tell you about movies I've seen, typically new movies that I think are worth your time, or at least going to the theater. And this past week, I checked out what I consider to be a really fun, interesting, somewhat unique, dark sci-fi comedy. Good luck, have fun, don't die. Starring Sam Rockwell, from Gore Verbinski, writer Matt Robinson. I had no clue what the hell this was about. It just looked neat. If you're on the live stream, which, hey, if you like listening to us live, we do it pretty much at least every other Wednesday, 6 p. Eastern, as close as we can get. YouTube.com/Star Wars Time Show. Even if we're not doing a live, even if we do a pre-record, you can still catch our pre-records with instant premiere, with the chat going on Wednesday, 6 p. Eastern. As close as we can get, like I said, YouTube.com/Star Wars Time Show. But anyways, good luck, have fun, don't die. Was pretty kick-ass. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was, like I said, very creative. I think Sam Rockwell is amazing in it, masterful performance. He just plays a great eccentric character that you're questioning, like, is what he's saying, is it real? Is it not real? I'll tell you, the movie involves some time travel and trying to undo things in the past to prevent a dark future. There's some AI stuff involved in there. I think there's some good message on that. I don't know. This is just a really good movie that kind of came out of nowhere. Wasn't on my radar. Didn't even know it was releasing. And I'm really glad I checked it out. So I highly recommend. Good luck. Have fun. Don't die. Might still be in the theaters. I know it released last week, but probably didn't make a ton of cash. And they're clearing room for what I think Scream's coming up soon. You need more screens for Wuthering Heights and things like that. But you can't go wrong with this one, people, if you like kind of wacky, dark comedy with a sci-fi slant to it. All right, so like I said, this week's big topic, we're breaking down that Mando and Grogu trailer number 2. Fans have been clamoring for new insights into the Mandalorian movie. We got something at the Super Bowl, but it was really a nothing burger, as people like to say in the political world. But we finally got a full trailer, 2 minutes and 11 seconds, dropped this week. And while, listen, I enjoyed it. Might have teared up a little bit seeing the little green guy and Din hanging out. I don't know what there is. It's probably because of this little one right here. But I love seeing those two together, the father and son, the father and child relationship, that dynamic master and apprentice. And it's just, that little green guy just melts me still. I don't know why. I know he's annoying to a lot of people, gimmicky to some people, but I dig him. I dig Grogu. And I just, some of his comedic relief moments in the trailer, if you will, were highlights, but they get me worked up. Like I literally, I don't know what it is. I almost get so excited I shed a tear for the little green guy. But overall, I like the trailer. I think it's showcasing that this movie is going to be fun, and we need some fun in a Star Wars movie. It feels like a long time since we've had a fun Star Wars movie, or fun in Star Wars in general, if you think about it. I mean, the last time we saw Din and Grogu was freaking 3 years ago at this point already. So what we've seen since then, Ahsoka season 1, pretty serious. Andor season 1, season 2, very serious. Bad Batch got very serious. So if Mando and Grogu, the movie, is going to have a, kind of a fun tone, fun vibe to it, I'm all for it. And like League's saying in the live stream chat, she loves Grogu. I love Grogu. Why love Grogu, if you know what I mean. So I dug the trailer. I think purposely they have kept it fairly light in regards to the overarching plot, the meat of the plot. I think what they're showing us are things that, yeah, they look exciting, and sure, they're going to take place in the movie, but I think for the most part, all the, Din's bounty hunting is kind of a MacGuffin. Going after the Hutts, I think there's a lot, there's a deeper narrative to that than just going after Hutts and cartels. I think the New Republic may have something up their sleeves when it comes to one Hutt in particular, and we're talking about our boy Rotta, played by what's his name? Damn it, who's voicing Rotta? I guess I could just look here at the official breakdown here. What the hell's that guy's name again? Jeremy Allen White. There we go, aka Bruce Springsteen on the big screen. So actually, you know what? Before we get into the trailer breakdown, let's just read a little bit of this latest article on the movie. You know, I don't know if you'd consider this a news synopsis or not, but it says the evil empire has fallen, and Imperial warlords remain scattered throughout the galaxy. As the fledgling New Republic works to protect everything the rebellion fought for, they have enlisted the help of legendary Mandalorian bounty hunter Djarin and his young apprentice Grogu. Directed by Jon Favreau and starring Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian, Sigourney Weaver as Colonel Ward, and Jeremy Allen White as Rotta the Hutt. The latest trailer includes a new look at Zeb Orrelios now flying for the New Republic and other species, including a Kyuzo bounty hunter, an Ardenian fry cook, and diminutive Anzellans. We also see Mando unmasked. What's up with that, Din? You're not supposed to take that off. Remember, you went into those waters below Mandalore to, make up for your sins. What's going on here? So, there you go. Let's go ahead and get into the breakdown here. There. Yep, Diego, Yoda it is. Let's Yoda it up. Yoda. Yeah, Yoda. Yeah, Yoda. You know what? Like I said, I've never really done this before a trailer breakdown, but let's go ahead and let's just watch the trailer. I'm not even sure if the audio will come through the stream. So if you want to play around, go ahead and queue up the trailer right now, and I'll do a little countdown and we'll start it, okay? And then we'll watch it, and then I'll get into my breakdown, if you will. All right, you guys sound good? Okay. Let's see what we can do here. I feel like, yeah, screw it. It might come through the microphone. Maybe it'll come through YouTube. I have no idea. But let's check this thing out and have a good time. All right, here we go. Clearly coming into a Delphi base. Not R2.
Hey, never touch the buttons.
You gotta love it, man. I know it's gimmicky for a lot, but you gotta love these two together. What are we thinking, Nar Shaddaa here?
Information.
Whoa, for this price I'll tell you whatever you want.
Martin Scorsese voicing this guy.
Close for the night. Thank you.
That's the rumors out there.
Gangsters. War criminals.
Long live the Empire.
We'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards.
Look at him. Salute, Grogu. Oh, right in the pee-pee. You win.
This isn't about revenge.
Ripley. Show him. Master Yoda will be proud of you, Grogu.
It's about preventing
That's
another
like lifting an
war.
X-Wing.
Strap in.
Uh-oh, is that Embo? And his dog, Marak? Looks like it.
It will be his turn.
See? Come on, Den. What are you doing taking that
Before
bucket
going into
off?
harm's way,
Yeah,
check your
strap
armor.
up, bro.
The kid will live centuries
Oh,
beyond
look
me.
at him. Look at
I
this
will
guy.
always be around to protect him.
How can you not love this guy? Rhoda.
Are you scared? You should be.
Do we run
Sperm snake.
or do we fight?
I like this kid.
I do too, Zeb. I do too.
What are you waiting for?
Come on. Let's hit it. Woohoo! Jar of game pieces, that's what we'll call them. Alright, let's go. Let's go.
Let's save the rest for after dinner.
This is me on the weekends. Macrons. Alright. Yeah, listen, it looks great. I mean, like I said, it looks super fun. Super fun. You know what I mean? So I can't be too angry at the trailer. But let's go ahead. Let's start breaking it down frame by frame. Talk about some things that might be going on. And like I said, maybe start piecing together what is the overarching plot in this movie. Because it's not just going to be about bounty hunting and taking out the the targets that the New Republic gives to Din. There has to be a bigger picture, if you will. There has to be a direct connection to the Mandoverse era, if not just more setup for Ahsoka Season 2. You got to remember, Grand Admiral Thrawn has returned. Somehow he hath returned many decades before somehow Palpatine returns, because somehow everyone returns in the Star Wars universe, right? No one's ever really gone. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the breakdown here. We're looking at the new poster that came out. Looks pretty slick. Great poster. I like how Grogu essentially just backpacks on Din these days. So as I said, we'll go through scene by scene. We'll talk about some of the dialogue spoken in the trailer, and we'll do our thing. We'll make some magic, if you know what I mean. All right. So, you know, like I said, the opening shot looks like we've got a New Republic fleet either coming into a Delphi base or leaving. It'd be great if they're leaving, because that implies there might be some sort of space battle or space campaign. Who knows? Maybe Din kicks enough hornet's nests that his buddies via Zeb have to come and help him out. That would be great. I always like space battles. I love dogfights with X-Wings. So, you know, hopefully that is something that happens, if you know what I mean. And, you know, as we're seeing this stuff play out, we start getting some dialogue here. Like I said, not R2. Kind of looks like it until he gets into the light. But it looks like he's rolling up on an X-Wing here, or at least the Razor Crest, as these two are dicking around in the Razor Crest trying to get it started. The question is how does he get a new Razor Crest? Does the New Republic gift it to him? Is that kind of his bounty for going out and doing all these hunts for them, checking out, you know, tracking down warlords and gangsters? Hopefully that gets explained, and it's not just another somehow a Razor Crest has returned to Din's possession. But clearly early on in this trailer, we're getting the kind of the comedic nature of Grogu and Din together now. You know, we have to think this is almost like their fourth season together. Their bond clearly is super tight at this point in time. Grogu shunned the Jedi way to remain a Mandalorian, became an apprentice at the end of season 3. So we should see even more hijinks between these two in this episode. And, you know, you gotta love he's there. He's now riding shotgun himself. He's no longer in his pram. He's all grown up, people. He's all growed up. But anyways, there it is. Again, Razor Crest, I know it's a standard model from back in the days Clone Wars era, but this one definitely has a different paint job. I just want to know how he gets it. It doesn't have to be a big part of the movie. Like I said, if there's just one on a Delphi base and you're like, hey man, we know you like this. Here you go. Here's our gift for you for working for us. I would be fine with that as well, if you know what I mean. Hey there, Levi Plays. How's it going? So, you know, we're moving right along through the trailer. This is Din flying through a cityscape with his jetpack on. I really do. Just knowing now, I mean, we've known for a few months, if not over a year, that the Hutts are going to be involved, in particular, Rotta the Hutt. And I think the trailer 1, I kind of speculated based on some of the symbols in parts of the trailer that Din is probably going after the Hutt cartel, if not the twins, which we find out is true in this trailer. But I do think this is not Coruscant. I think this is Nar Shaddaa, which is a moon of Nal Hutta, the home planet of those fat slugs. So I think he's going here, and this is where he's going to try to track down Rotta and eventually finds him in that gladiatorial arena. So, you know, he rolls up on this Ardenian fry cook, and you're asking, what's an Ardenian? Well, think Rio Durant from the Solo franchise, the pilot there before, you know, he gets taken out and then Han becomes the pilot. But this is where we hear Din saying, I could use some information. And Martin Scorsese says, for this price, I'll tell you any information you want. And then Din makes a mistake of saying, I'm looking for a hut. And boom, he says, closed for the night, thank you. So that's why I think this is Nar Shaddaa. This moon planet, or the moon, it's a moon, can't be a moon and a planet, but this moon clearly is going to have ties to the Hutt homeworld. There's going to be some shady shit going on here. And of course, people working here trying to sell some French fries. The last thing they want to do is piss off the big slugs. So the moment he hears Din mention the word Hutt, he's like, see you later, pal. Ain't happening. We're closing shop. No fries for you. But ultimately, from other trailers, TV spots or whatever, I think Din ends up at a nightclub on Nar Shaddaa and probably gets the information he is looking for, which is going to lead him to that gladiatorial arena. All right, this looks like a possible continuation of a scene we saw from the first trailer where Din, it seems he's battling these big ass robot protectors. Like I said, that is the Hutt cartel symbol right there. But now we know exactly what Hutt's this layer is houses, and it's the twins. We first met the twins in the Book of Boba Fett, so we now know that behind that door, this is the twins. Is it their castles? Is it their lairs? Is it their home base? Who knows? But clearly, we've got Din and Grogu here infiltrating the twins' fortress. Here they are talking. If you look, it looks like they've got a repurposed B2 over here. And they've got what appears to be those HK assassin droids that we've seen in the Ahsoka series with Morgan Elsbeth and the like. But there they are, the twins. They still don't have individual names, but you can tell they definitely love each other. I don't know if Hutts are like the Targaryens and they're a bit incestual, but these two literally are wrapped within each other. I mean, they are almost a singular unit, these twins, even though they're a guy and a girl. And like I said, that might make it even worse. Do the Hutts practice incest like the Targaryens to keep it all in the family, if you know what I mean? But really, just some random BS here. I do like that the twins, like Jabba, kind of sit on this big ass slab throne. They even have the same little, whatever hell these alien heads are that Jabba had on his movable throne in his palace on Tatooine. They got the frog bong. You got the frog bowl. So I kind of like how they're kind of maintaining the similarity to how we used to see Jabba presented. And, it must just be a Hutt thing. They are big ass slugs, so sitting on big platforms kind of makes sense here. Let me take a break here. League from the live stream chat saying, I really hope the entire story is not about the Hutts. I really don't think it is, League. I think they are, if they're not just the straight up MacGuffin in this movie, I think they're going to be MacGuffin light. And Din's mission in particular to find Rotta, I do think is coming from the New Republic. And I know I said this before when we broke down trailer 1. You got to think, Rotta the Hutt is in this gladiatorial arena for some reason. He is the true heir of Jabba the Hutt. So why the hell did he not assume his father's mantle when Leia killed him in Return of the Jedi? Why did Jabba's palace and his operations go right to Bib Fortuna? Was Rotta exiled? Did the twins do something to him? Did the twins, are they the ones that sent him to this gladiatorial arena to kind of keep him off the map so they could come and take Jabba's palace? I mean, think about it. We already know they want it. We saw them in the Book of Boba Fett. They rolled right up to Jabba's door and were like, hey, Boba, what are you doing? That's our shit. That's our property. And then, Boba kind of brushes them aside, and we get what we get in that franchise. So you can tell from the Book of Boba Fett that the twins are very interested in taking over Jabba's property operation on Tatooine. But like I said, think about Jabba had an heir. He loved Rotta. He loved Rotta so much, that's why we had the Clone Wars movie. I mean, one of the main plot points was Anakin and Snips going to save Rotta as a little slug baby for Jabba so he wouldn't do anything stupid with the Separatists. So Jabba clearly loved his son, but once Jabba was gone, his son did not take over his palace on Tatooine. So I'm thinking there might be some underlying family feud stuff going on, competition going on in the Hutt family between the twins and Rotta. And either Rotta just didn't care, he wanted nothing to do with it, still making him a liability for the Hutt cartel, or the twins have kind of orchestrated his exile and sent him to this gladiatorial arena to keep him out of the way so they can kind of take things over on Tatooine. Either way, though, just again addressing League here, I don't think the Hutts are the main deal, the main plot point, But I think they're going to play into the larger plot, which could be the New Republic wanting intel on Rotta, or wanting intel from Rotta, or wanting Rotta to become an ally of theirs. I mean, think about if Rotta has been cast out. He would be a great asset for the New Republic to have to get insights into the Hutt cartel, which, as we know, operates in the Outer Rim, and the Outer Rim is kind of full of some, shenanigans. The New Republic can't police the entire galaxy yet, and that's their fault. They're the ones that kind of decommissioned their fleet, but they need some help. They need some insights into how the cartel works, and Rotta would be a great mouthpiece for them. Someone to kind of come to their side, or at least be a CI for them. Yeah, League saying, would the film actually explain why Rotta didn't take over? That sounds like a lot of fluff for a film. Hey, League, it could be done in a quick conversation. You know what I mean? It could be done in 30 seconds. Like, hey, Colonel Ward the Din. Hey, you remember Rotta the Hutt? Well, his family exiled him, or the twins screwed him over, and now we think he's over here, or he's at least in the Outer Rim. We need you to go find him because we need some intel from him. I think that's kind of how it may go down. This is where we kind of hear, Din voiceover in the trailer, gangster, war criminals, and then it goes right to a shot of clearly an Imperial remnant base where a warlord is at. In fact, this gentleman right here is very high up in the Imperial remnant. How do I know that? Well, I'm Matt from the Star Wars Time Show, God damn it. No, actually, I went back and verified. This is one of the dudes that showed up during the Shadow Council scene in Mandalorian Season 3. So the Shadow Council, that's Moff Gideon was a part of it. Hux's dad is a part of it. Admiral Pelion is a part of it, and this dude you see right here in the trailer is also a part of it. The real question is, clearly we know Din and Grogu are going to this icy planet. We've seen a lot of that stuff from the trailer, but the real question is, what planet is this? Is it a new icy planet, or is it a familiar one? So familiar ones would be, at least in my knowledge, Ilum or Hoth. If we're thinking still that Mandoverse era is helping to flesh out, fill in some gaps, add more meat to the sequel era, the sequel trilogy era, then it would make sense to me if the snow planet, the ice planet that is featured in Mando and Grogu is actually Ilum. Because if you remember, Ilum ends up getting completely hollowed out, mined, and turned into Starkiller Base. So it makes sense if we had the Imperial remnant already setting up shop, having bases, potentially getting started on the work that's going to turn a planet into a super weapon. So that's what I'm going with. If it's not Ilum, I hope it's not Hoth, but I also would not be mad. Hey there, Paper Storm. Ben! Good to see you. But anyways, this guy, this warlord, this Imperial warlord, he's definitely high up the chain in the remnant, like I said, because he is from the Shadow Council. There he is right there from a screenshot from Mando Season 3, just to verify that. And you can tell this dude's probably always been on that icy planet because he is, he's got himself a nice little warm cloak to wear so he doesn't get chilly sitting in his frozen fortress. All right, so we've kind of known for a while now that Din's going to be directly working with Sigourney Weaver's Colonel Ward. And those are not Sabacc cards. Think back to, if you're old enough, the Iraq War II, when the U.S. Armed Forces essentially handed out a deck of cards for Saddam Hussein and then all of his, generals and lieutenants, for our soldiers, SEALs, Black Ops people to hunt down. And that's pretty much what Colonel Ward is having Din doing. He's like, gangster, war criminals, we'll take every bad guy in your deck of cards. And yeah, they probably will. But like I said, I don't think this is the main point of the movie, is just watching Din go out on mission after mission after mission. Sure, this is going to kick things off, but when he's on one of these missions, I think that's when things may go sideways, as we can imply from him losing his helmet. And that's where the real plot starts to kick in, where we start to see like, oh, the Empire is doing this and the New Republic needs to be aware of it. But I like that they're kind of using a card deck for Din to hunt down. But if you look at this card here, I mean, clearly that is not a human. I was trying to figure out like what silhouette, what alien silhouette that references. Is that a gangster? We know the Empire didn't love aliens, so it's probably not an Imperial. But I'm trying to think. I mean, that it's like a little, wiener head, if you will, a sperm head. Not quite as eggy as Ki-Adi-Mundi, but there's definitely a cone head shape to that. And for some reason, I can't place a known character, a known Imperial, or a known remnant to that card. So, the trailer continues on. These two are, clearly Ward is giving Din his charge, the deck of cards. I'm guessing this is probably going to happen early in the movie, maybe within the first 10 minutes to just set up like, yeah, this is what Din and Grogu are doing these days. There's the little salute. Like I said, I can't help when I see this little guy. He's got himself a Mando satchel now. He's got his Mando breastplate that the armor made him in season 3, and he's even got himself a gauntlet, and he's saluting Colonel Ward. I mean, you gotta love him. I know he's a baby still, but he is in his 50s, and he's still cute as hell, and I can't help myself that I am a sucker from this little guy. Hey there, we got Josiah Greer showing up, asking Joe from Chiss Ascendancy here. What's up, guys? Do you think the Imperial Warlord, or is he like S1 Client and a bigger bad takes the stage like Gillian? No, Josiah, I don't know if you just came in, but I showed you that. Here, just for you, Josiah, I'll flip back. Like this Warlord, he's part of the Shadow Council. So this screen right here, if you're following along, this came from Mando Season 3 when Gideon was talking to the Shadow Council. So this dude he's big up. He's not just like the Client. He's definitely full-on Imperial, leading a large clandestine unit on this icy planet, which I'm guessing might be Ilum. So there you go. Hopefully you're caught up now. But anyways, the trailer moves into some action sequences. Clearly, this is Din walking into that same meeting room we just saw that Warlord in. So he's one of his targets. I'm guessing again that's probably going to be early in the film. A nice big action sequence to kind of kick things off. But he comes in and he knows how to clear some snowtroopers. Let's flames throw their asses and then shoot them in their weenies. Okay, we get another wide shot of a Delphi base here. Hey there, thanks for the sub, G-Pot's Top Shots. Always appreciate that. But really, I think an interesting shot here of a Delphi base. We have a U-Wing coming in. Who's flying that? I'm going to guess that could be Zeb's new whip. I feel like when Zeb's not in battle, he's probably whipping a U-Wing, so that's my guess there. But we are going to return to a Delphi base, which we first saw in, I can't remember if it was Mando Season 2 or Season 3. So, we get another shot, similar scenes we've seen before from other trailers where Colonel Ward and Din are talking in that bar on a Delphi base, and she explains to him, like, hey, this isn't about revenge. It's about preventing another war. So I'm guessing Din is asking her, like, damn, you guys want to kill a bunch of these people. Are you just getting back at them? And she has to explain, like, no, listen, with the remnant still out there, with these warlords still out there, with people still saying, long live the Empire, we don't have enough control of this galaxy yet to ensure peace and tranquility and stability. So we need to start taking these ne'er-do-wells out, be it gangsters working with the Imperial remnant, or the warlords themselves. We need to take them out to prevent another war. And unfortunately, as we know, 30 or so years from now, they fail. And, we can talk about why. You probably should have never completely got rid of your arsenal like the New Republic decided to do against Leia's wishes, but here we are. So, trailer continues on. We get Grogu at this icy base. I do like that it seems like him and Din are going to be splitting up on a lot of these missions. So it's not just going to be, Din saving Grogu all the time or Grogu saving Din. it seems that we're really going to test Grogu, which makes sense. He is now a Mandalorian apprentice. He's no longer just a ward. He's a full-on apprentice, so Din has to let him go and get used to being on missions like this and defending himself and figuring things out. So I like that Grogu more than likely is going to be on his own for a good chunk of this movie, and I'll explain more about that later. But hey, he kind of gets a Yoda moment here. I know it's not an X-Wing, but come on, look how tiny he is. He's picking up this mouse droid, which has 4-wheel drive and snow track tires, and he just completely disassembles it with the Force. So you got to like that gag again. I mean, listen, if you're on the live stream, my dumbass is always going to have a wide smile when I see Grogu on screen. I can't help it. There's Josiah again saying, more teenage Grogu is on the way. I'm starting to think maybe Din gets captured and a chunk of the movie will be about Grogu maturing and going alone. Yeah, I'm with you, Josiah. And like I said, I'll explain more here in a little bit, but we are operating on the same wavelength. The Force is with us. So moving through the trailer, it gets into more action intense scenes. But what we're looking at here, like if you remember from the trailer, we're not on the snow planet. We're on and I'm just going to say this might very well be now Hata, because we know for a fact that this base is the twins' base where Din seemingly gets captured. And it does look like the twins, they've got some HK droids in here. There might even be repurposed B1s. And like I said, a few slides back, it looks like they even have some repurposed B2s. But I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that this is the twins' fortress, and it's going to be on Nal Hata. This does not look like Tatooine at all. It definitely has some greenery around, which we know doesn't really happen on everyone's favorite desert planet. But apparently, shit's going to hit the fan at the twins' fortress, and I'm hoping it's the New Republic coming to help get Din escape, or help kind of clear the path for him to escape after he was captured. And the reason I think it might be Din escaping, and who knows, I mean, these frames move so quick when you're trying to get screenshots, but you could argue the first ship to kind of shoot out of that hangar tube from the Hutt's fortress, and look at their fortress, man. You know it's Hutt too, because look, the style is very similar to Jabba's palace on Tatooine. But look at that gun turret, man. I mean, they could probably almost take down Star Destroyers if they wanted to. But back to my point, if you look, this shape is kind of like the Razor Crest, but I think it's too small. So these, and they also kind of have a shape of a skiff, like a Hutt skiff, the skiffs we saw Jabba using in ROTJ. So this could be the Hutts releasing their Starcraft to go either chase after Din, who's escaping, or defend the fortress from the New Republic that might be coming here to rain hell down upon them. Josiah again, another total fan service request here, but maybe Grogu brings Boba and Cobb to help Mando and repay the favor. It'd be nice. I mean, I know Tamara said that, yeah, he has no involvement in this film. He could be playing coy. It could be NDA. But it would be cool to see those two show up, considering, Din kind of came to the aid of both of them, really, in Book of Boba Fett. So I'm with you, Josiah. I like the way you think. All right, so here's, I think, part of the trailer that probably got most people excited that haven't been following leaks. I know we talked about the possibility of Embo being a nemesis to Din. Feels like a year ago at this point. But, and I know Lucasfilm, they just said, yeah, we got a Cayuzo, bounty hunter. And okay, it's Embo. I mean, even his dog Marak is there. But who cares? Like, we knew he was going to be there, like I said, if you've been paying attention. I think the interesting thing here from the trailer is I'm almost positive that this shot or the scene they showed of Embo in the trailer is on Navarro, and this is Din and Grogu's homestead. Like, just pay attention to the door, the shape of the house. Go back and look at it at the end of season 3. Look at it at the end of this trailer even. I think it's a 1-to-1 match. So it seems like, and who knows, is it the Hutts? Is it the Imperial Remnant? One of the warlords for the Imperials? Are they the ones that hire Embo? I'm guessing it's going to be cartel-based because Embo has worked for the Hutts in the past. So they may be hiring him to come after Din, which, it's going to be fun. Embo is probably a character that, unless you watch the Clone Wars, you have no clue who we're talking about. But knowing Dave Filoni's involved, it doesn't surprise me in the least that he's finally bringing Embo to live action. And, he's probably going to be a good foil for Din, but I'd almost like to see these two team up. Where's that bounty hunter code, bro? Something like that. But I do think, like I said, the big takeaway, at least from this trailer involving Embo, is that he seems to make it to Navarro and is literally stalking Din and Grogu's homestead. I think this was the big shocker for everyone. Din losing his helmet. Listen, I think there's multiple reasons this has to happen. They know they have to keep Pedro happy. They know they have to make him more than just a voice actor to keep him, appeased with this role. And so I think this is probably contract language where Pedro's people are like, yo, we're going to have to see his face in this movie. All right. No more season 3 where we don't see lovely Pedro at all. But the bigger picture here is clearly either Din lets himself get captured or, prior to him coming into the twins' throne room, we did see Grogu on his back. So maybe Din sacrifices himself so Grogu can escape, kind of going in line with Josiah. I do think this is the moment in the movie when Din and Grogu raid the twins' fortress. Something goes down where Din, I believe, gives himself up to allow Grogu to get away. And this leads to one of the twins' HK droids ripping off his helmet and, starting to talk shit to him. You will suffer, and then it will be his turn. So, maybe Grogu is also captured at this point, but he ends up getting himself out because of the Force powers. But clearly the twins are pissed at Din. Is it because what he did in Book of Boba Fett, or is it because what he's doing here in this movie? Nobody knows. It's probably a combination of both. But they know how to humiliate him. They drop his helmet, and then they threaten him, and more importantly, they threaten Grogu. All right, so there's a better shot of the Cayuzo, which is going to be Embo. And it does, this could be clever trailer editing, but it looks like he does run into Grogu on Navarro. Is this Grogu on his own? Does, when Din gets captured, does Grogu peace out and make his way back to Navarro to wait? Hell, if that's the case, and I don't think it is, I think Embo is hired probably by the twins to capture them or capture Grogu. Maybe, and just maybe, hear me out here, maybe Embo and Din go way back in the guild, and Embo gets some sort of signal from Din or another bounty hunter, and Embo is coming to save Grogu. I know that's like I said, that might be far-fetched here, but you just don't know. I mean, it's going to go one way or the other. Embo, it looks like he's either tasked with hunting them both down or at least finding Grogu, and more than likely, depending on who hired him, will dictate Embo's actions. Is he kidnapping him, or is he there to help him? I don't know. Think about it. Like I said, we're just speculating here, my friends. Spitballing, as they say. So we get a better shot of the twins, and like I said, they're definitely shaking down Mando. There's the big guy holding Mando's helmet. Like I said, that's when he's threatening him, like, you will suffer, and then it will be his turn. So clearly they are no fans of Din, and they are no fans of dieting. And Din is pissed. I mean, look at that. Like, he knows. He's like, what are you going to do to my little man? No one messes with my man. I will save him, which it looks like he does eventually. So the trailer keeps moving along, hitting some beats here. And, this is where you kind of get Grogu strapping up with his gauntlet, if you will. And then it looks like he's going to have one of those montage moments where he's getting all geared up, tightening his armor. and you can hear Din saying, "If we're going into harm's way, check your armor." And Grogu's just like, "Locked and loaded, boss. Let's rock and roll." Again, look, like I said, I just look like a big smiling dummy anytime this little dude comes on screen, and I will never regret buying my 1-to-1 scale Hot Toys of Grogu. In fact, I almost feel like getting up and looking at him right now, but I digress. I will not waste your time. All right, so we get some more action scenes. I was able to slow this one down enough. I mean, clearly this is Din in a dogfight, but if you look at the ships in front of them, they're not familiar to me, at least from a faction standpoint. I mean, they're clearly not going to be New Republic. They don't look like old droid ships, vultures, those types of things. They've got, it looks like almost 4 engines, 2 engines on the wing, and then 2 regular thrusters on the back there. So I'm wondering if this is part of the escape from, the Nal Hutta, if that's where the twins' fortress is going to be, or maybe leaving Nar Shaddaa, but probably not, because that planet seems kind of dark like Coruscant. But either way, we are going to get at least one dogfight involving the Razor Crest, which is always going to be fun. So I'm pretty excited for that. As we speculated earlier, it does feel like Grogu, for at least a part of this film, is going to be on his own. And it's probably when Din is captured by the twins. But he somehow links up with the Inzellans, the Babu Fricks of the world. And I don't know if any of these are going to be Babu. I don't know how long Inzellans live, because, we first meet Babu 30 or so years after this moment in The Rise of Skywalker. But I think it's a good group of aliens to pair Grogu with, not just for, comical hijinks, but they're all tiny, and they're going to be able to do tiny people things, get into tiny spaces, and that may lead to them really helping out some of their big friends. So I do dig that the Grogu's going to be riding with a posse of Inzellans here. Okay. And then we kind of get a statement. We don't know who Din is talking to at this point in time when the trailer shifts to, shots of Grogu in, I'm just going to say it, a very Dagobah looking woods or forest. And I mean, for Christ's sakes, he's in the first shot there. He's literally holding what looks like Yoda's cane. I mean, spot on Yoda's cane. He's not tall enough to use it in full yet, but it really feels like Yoda's cane. So we hear Din saying, and we don't know who he's talking to. Maybe it's Colonel Ward, maybe it's Zeb, maybe it's Bo-Katan. I do think Bo-Katan has a role, or it makes sense if Bo and some of the other Mandos show up in this movie, because remember, Din was the one, whether he wanted to do it or not, that brought both the cult Mandos, the Armorer's cult, and Bo's traditional Mandos together and retook Mandalore. So you would think if they heard that dude was in trouble, they might come and help. But either way, I'll kind of move off that point for now. But he said, he says, the kid will live centuries beyond me, and I won't always be around to protect him. So I don't know, maybe he's talking to another Force user, trying to set up like, hey, what's going to happen when I die? Like, I only have maybe a few more decades unless I get myself killed. This dude's got upwards of 800 to 900 more years to live. So who's going to be around to take care of that? So is this Dagobah? I don't know. We get this next shot where it's probably the same forest planet, forest location, and there's nice bright sun, which we don't usually kind of tie to Dagobah, at least in Empire and comics. It always seems pretty dark and dreary, swampy. But who knows? Maybe the sun's poking through today, or maybe this is Kofor, the planet we saw in the Acolyte that had a very lush jungle and some odd dark side vibes to it. Maybe that was just Kamir's presence, but I would not be disappointed if Grogu has some sort of trip to Dagobah to reflect on Yoda. Maybe I think that'd be pretty cool. Maybe we'll get some insights into their species, where Grogu came from. I think one thing at least I forgot about, and hopefully the creators didn't forget about, but what have we had every season of The Mandalorian so far in regards to Grogu and his mysterious past? Anybody? We've had flashbacks. All right, we've had flashbacks that showed that he was in the Jedi Temple during Order 66. We've had flashbacks showing that Kelleran Beck is the one that saves him with the help of Naboo to get him out of here. So if I were a betting man, which I wasn't this football season, I'm disappointed. I could have made a lot of money betting against my Steelers. But if I was a betting man, I think we're probably going to get another flashback about Grogu's past, and hopefully it picks up after the rescue by Kelleran Beck, and maybe we even learn about where he came from, or what species are these little green type of people. You know what I mean? So I really do think separating Grogu and Din is going to be a great thing for not only the Mandalorian Grogu movie, but the Mandoverse narrative in Star Wars as a whole. Next shot here, in the last trailer, we saw Grogu. He's in like a body of water and he's struggling. And it doesn't look like he can swim. And this trailer kind of gives it away. It looks like, Din's going to come in and save the day here. So these two, I think, clearly get split up. Somehow they find each other, and it looks like Din is ultimately going to come in at the nick of time to save his little buddy from some sort of underwater death. We get some other commentary over the trailer. Din says, "Are you scared? You should be." And then he says, "Do we run or do we fight?" And we get a shot in the trailer of Din walking to the arena. From other trailers, he seems to be a spectator in the arena, him and Grogu. Grogu's eating some popcorn. They're just watching the gladiators go at it. But for whatever reason, it's probably to get close to Rhoda now that he's find them. It seems like Din is going to be entering the gladiator arena and taking on Rotta the Hutt. And as teased, as spoiled many, many months ago, if not a year ago, Rhoda is a hoss. He is not a big fat ass like his dad. I mean, he is built. He is swole, as they say in the bodybuilding community. I mean, he is stout. He doesn't have a long tail. He doesn't have a gut. I mean, in fact, where like his slug form ends, he just turns into a massive hulking beast. Definitely, and hulking is the right term to use here. So these two are definitely going to fight. I'm assuming, like I said, I think it's just by necessity. This is the only way Din can get close to him. And Din's probably going to be trying to talk to him as they're fighting. And I think eventually these two may see eye to eye. Din probably gets through. And that's when we see all hell break loose in the gladiatorial arena and on what I'm speculating is Nar Shaddaa towards the end of this trailer, when we see all the fighters kind of break out and start chasing Din and Grogu around town. This shot here, I know a lot of people. It's the one where Grogu, again, he's in like this swamp area and this like kind of crocodile lizard thing is talking to him. And I saw some people out there going like, yeah, that's a Sebulba type of alien. And I'm like, no, not at all. Not at all. Look at this guy. I mean, he's got like a crocodile skin, crocodile body. And the big giveaway that this is not a Sebulba type of alien. Yeah, remember, they walk on their hands and their feet are their arms. And this guy clearly is not built this way. So I think this is either a new species or one that I am just not familiar with here. Let me check on the chat here. We got Dick Eaton on here. He's talking about listening to stream, dropping wet, warm logs like a lumberjack. It's been a while since good old Dick Eaton 8 has been in here. Man, yeah, don't eat those Popeye tenders, mac and cheese, and mashed potatoes, buddy. That's gonna tear you up. Hey there, Jedi Order 17. They're saying, love that trailer. All right, well, hopefully you're enjoying this breakdown and some of the insights I'm bringing at you. And don't forget, my friends, it's free. Consider subbing to the channel, giving the video a like, sharing it around, dropping a comment. But if you really want to go hardcore and get a little Vader cat next to your name in YouTube chats and access to special Star Wars Time Show emojis, consider for $1.99 a month becoming a channel member. So, for whatever reason, Grogu I don't know if he's taken in by this gator lizard type of alien, but they seem to be buddies. They're talking, and he asks, Grogu, are you scared? You should be. And when he says, are you scared? Grogu goes like, like, yeah, I definitely am. Okay, here we go. We got helmetless Din in a pit of water, and we've got what I believe is officially called a dragon snake. Apparently these things showed up in the Clone Wars, but looking at it, I'm calling this a sperm snake because of its albino type of color. But hear me out here. I think just like either their brother or cousin Jabba, I'm pretty sure the twins also have some sort of pit of death in their throne room that they can flush people down when they're tired talking to them. And instead of a rancor, they have this dragon snake or whatever the hell the official term is for it. So I'm guessing after they shake down Din and make threats to him, and he probably threatens back, or maybe he just sits there and acts stoic. But I'm assuming they have a way to flush him down here to try and get him killed easily. But I think like Luke Skywalker, Din is going to figure his way out of this mess. But that's kind of my take on this. I think this is all related to the twins' fortress that we've been talking about and seeing in this new trailer. There's my man doing Force stuff. Don't really have any specific comments what might be going on here, but it looks like this could be on that swamp planet. That's what we'll just call it for now. And he's using the Force, which he should. Here we get a shot of a desert. Is this Tatooine? It probably wouldn't be the Mando if we don't go to Tatooine. But I don't know if this is Grogu throwing the Force at this land speeder full of Imperial remnant troopers or what. And I think these guys are just regular stormies, but you never know. Some of their helmets look a little different. Armor looks a little loose. I guess they are kind of janky, but we might be hitting Tatooine after all in this movie. And you know what? It might make sense. I mean, who's on Tatooine that's become kind of a main character for the Mandalorian series? Pelimoto, so maybe they go check in there. Hell, maybe that's where he gets another Razor Crest. Honestly, that makes sense. She's the one that sourced him the N1 Starfighter. Maybe he trades that back and gets a Razor Crest, something that is a much better vehicle for a guy that likes to bounty hunt. There he is. We knew Zeb was going to be in this movie. We've seen him in the first trailer. He definitely appears to be on at least one of the Imperial remnant missions with Din and Grogu. He's in that fortress kicking ass, taking names. But here we just get to hear him say, I like this kid. And, he's got that, I think I said this yesterday, but that leather jacket looks good on Zeb. His beard, mutton chops are looking good. The leather jacket, I don't know, it just evokes memories of Poe's jacket that he eventually gives to Finn. So, that's that New Republic style that bleeds into the Resistance style down the road. But I think Zeb, and we've speculated this before, Zeb is either just going to be Din and Grogu's New Republic attaché, or the New Republic may use Zeb early on to kind of shadow Din and Grogu. Maybe they don't fully trust him. Just so they can kind of keep the New Republic's best interests as Din is out taking out warlords and gangsters. We got some action shots in the trailer. These tunnels where they're fighting in the droids. This, to me, again, is all going to be taking place possibly on Nal Hutta. Excuse me. Most definitely at the Twins' fortress. This might be as he's trying to break in or break out. I'm guessing breaking in because he still has his helmet, but his helmet does look a little slimy and dirty, so maybe he steals his helmet back, kills the twins, and this is him trying to get out of Dodge. So here we go, again, back to the outside of the twins' fortress. You can see a ship being blown up. And like I said, notice how it just has a shape of one of Jabba's skiffs, even his sail barge. So these very may well be the twins' starfighters. And one is getting blown up. Is it getting blown up from the sky? Is it the New Republic coming in? Is it Din getting away in the Razor Crest and shooting them out of the sky? Who knows? But it looks like Din is going to have some backup if he is indeed locked up in this fortress. All right. The reason I clipped this next screen from the trailer, this is when I'm just going to call them the Djarin game pieces break out, because that pretty much what every other gladiator looks like in this movie. They're all the monsters, the aliens that we see on a Djarin game board. But when the big guy, the lizard guy, breaks out in Bausch, you can see that there's a sign, and someone, not me, deciphered it, and this actually says Weathers Apollo, which clearly is a need to Carl Weathers and his Mandalorian gem of a character, Greef Karga, as we affectionately call him on the show, Greef Cardboard. I really do wish Greef Cardboard would come back and join our stream again, but you never know. Okay, so like I said earlier, I think Din eventually, for whatever reason, has to square off against Rotta to get close to him and kind of make his pitch. I think as they're fighting, he gets through to Rotta. That causes some shit to go down where all the gladiators are let loose. Like, hey, get those guys. Don't let them get away. And, so we see Din fighting these Djarin pieces in the gladiator arena. And then we see them break out of the arena and start chasing him around town, which, again, I think is Nar Shaddaa. But I do think all this chaos ensues because Din is able to get to Rotta and deliver the message, or get some sort of confirmation from him that he's going to help him or give him some good intel. And that's when shit hits the fan. As the trailer wraps up, again, you get some more comedy gold from these two. There's a little Rhodian in a pram. He jumps out. His mom tells him to get out as they see all these alien monsters spewing out of the gladiator arena. And Din's like, hey, man, what are you waiting for? And you see Grogu, he eyes up the pram, runs in it, jumps in it, and commands that thing like a pro. I mean, this kid definitely can drive himself some go-karts, if not a spaceship at this point in time. And they kind of, hit out of here, shoot through the tunnels. You got to love that we're going to see Din whipping the jetpack multiple times on this planet, this city planet, this seedy-looking planet. And, flying around. You got that big-ass Djarin game piece messing with them. Grogu coming in, flanking him. This is going to be kind of like a chase sequence, albeit without speeders. It's going to be with jetpacks and baby prams. So, kind of fun. And here they go as the trailer wraps up. They're getting the hell out of town, probably headed back to the Razor Crest. And it wraps to the end. And the reason I kept this screen, like I said, if you remember back to what I was saying about Embo, and I think Embo shows up on Navarro right at the Djarin homestead. Look at that door. And then, if you will, let's go back and compare it to the door that we see Embo doing. There you go. I think the similarities are pretty spot on. So I am going to stick to my guns here. Embo is either sent from the Hutts to kind of hunt these fools down, or if we want to get crazy, play devil's advocate, maybe Embo might be friends with Djarin, or another bounty hunter lets him know, like, hey, shit's going on with Din. You need to go check on him and protect Grogu if you find Grogu there alone. So yeah, that's just my speculation. Who knows? Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But that wraps the Mando and Grogu trailer number 2 and the SWTS deep dive breakdown. So hopefully you all gained some new insights. We got Cole Cowan showing up. What's going on, brother? You always seem to show up towards the end of the show, right through I get through the meat, but I know you're always good for a replay, and I appreciate you, my friend. But that wraps this week's special topic, the main segment. So let's go ahead and start closing out episode 389 of the SWTS. We do it every week. We dedicate our closing segment to our fans. For now, we've nixed the question of the week. Maybe we'll bring it back when the Mall series comes around just to see what people are thinking about each episode. But for now, the best way to get involved in the SWTS fan segment is through Instagram. That's right. If you make Star Wars art, be it drawings, toy photography, tattoos, clay, stop motion, tag us. Use the hashtag Star Wars Time Show, but more importantly, use the add tag feature and tag at StarWarsTime.show. That is the list we will pull our top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week from, which kicks off now. All right. So first up on this week's top 5, this is an absolute banger coming from Rainbird 1987. I believe they're over in Japan, which makes it even cooler because you have, or maybe it's Korea. That doesn't look Japanese. I don't know. Don't kill me, people. It looks sort of it looks Japanese to me. But what we're seeing here, this is just an awesome shot. You've got Din and Grogu sitting at a table with the Mando and Grogu poster behind them, a whiteboard. You got like little miniature toys scattered around. And then you've got these stormtroopers in line holding Star Wars collectibles for these two to sign. And Grogu right now, he's sitting on Din's jetpack so he can see over the table. He's signing something for a stormtrooper. The stormtrooper behind them is holding a little stormtrooper figure. Another one's holding a little Star Wars Funko Pop. And then the final stormtrooper waiting in line to get their stuff signed from the stars of a movie is another guy holding a Darth Vader toy. I'm sorry. Rainbird, you have not gotten enough love on this shot. This thing is absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. It doesn't get much better than this type of toy photography. I think it's super creative. It is well done, well staged, well shot. Rainbird 1987 on Instagram. Definitely give them a follow. Next up in this week's top 5, we got a great short shot of the Dark Lord of the Sith. I'm not talking about Sidious. I'm talking about our man Vader. This one's coming from M_W_Forrester on Instagram. And we've got Vader walking through a snowy battlefield. You can see stormtroopers scattered beneath him. Great posing here from Forrester. The cape is all spun up like the wind's rushing through. And Vader just looks like a boss. I mean, he looks like a man droid on a mission. This is just a great Vader shot from M_W_Forrester on IG. Make sure to give him a follow if you are not already. All right. Next up on this week's top 5, we've got a great poster type of shot here from Brian's_Toy Chest on Instagram. He's calling this one Tanked. He calls this is another entry in his Brawn of the Empire series, and we've got the Tank Commander. And like I said, think about these things. These would be like propaganda posters in the Star Wars universe. I'd imagine seeing these on Jeddah, like come join the Empire, drive a tank. It's a fantastic shot. It's a great toy photography poster type of shot. I'll go through like the close-ups here. But the Tank Commander, just one of the cooler looking trooper variants we got from Rogue One. And this is just excellent execution from Brian's_Toy Chest on the gram. Next up on this week's top 5 list, another fun one. This one is from Lion Works, and that's Works with an X, all one word. And it's a shot of Cad Bane doing his best Michael Jackson pose. Smooth criminal, one of those deals. And it looks like we've got Captain Rex laying dead on the floor, or at least shot in the gut. I don't know. These are Hot Toys figures, and Lionworks did a great job posing them. The Michael Jackson pose is absolutely perfection on Cad Bane. It just makes complete sense. He even has his mouth open like he's doing like a hee-hee, one of those deals. So I really appreciate this, especially with it being 1/6 scale. And, taking full body shots with poses and backgrounds. Just a great piece from Lionworks on Instagram. Yeah, League in the live stream chat. Lionworks is one of the GOATs, that is for sure. Another one that doesn't get a ton of love, a ton of traction. So, make sure to share that love with them. And last but not least, in this week's top 5, it's a many-time top 5 award-winning recipient. It's our boy from across the pond, the Lego master himself, Tong Wars, all one word. He's got a great shot of little Lego Death Troopers exploring some sort of like cavern. It's got great light peeking through. I like the effects. We got some particles going on. The Death Troopers have their flashlights on the muzzle of their guns. Uh-oh. Excuse me. I can't hit my cough button in time. But I love Lego photography, especially when it's Star Wars minifigs. And even more especially when it comes from Tong Wars. So if you like Legos, if you like Star Wars, if you like Lego photography, you can't go wrong with the Tong Wars. All right, people, that's it. I feel shot out of a cannon. I don't know, I had fun today. And hopefully you all did too. Don't forget, if you have not subbed to the channel yet, please give it a consideration. Subscribing is free. I promise I will not be spamming you with a bunch of bullshit every week. You're typically going to get an episode of the Star Wars Time Show, and then shorts, which are just clips from shows past or current shows, depending on how timely we need to get some of the content out. So don't forget, there is always time for Star Wars Time. And if you listen to the Star Wars Time Show, or watch our stupid content, or listen to me literally speak nonstop for an hour and 20 minutes, just tune in. Because if you do all that stuff, the Force will be with you. Always.